Welcome to this broadcast. Hopefully, you are tuning in from whatever time it is where you are, whether this is live or you're seeing me on recording. I hope you are taking a chance in this moment to just go, what am I grateful for? What am I grateful for is the topic of this show. And if you can't think of something, I hope before we end, you'll know that there's a huge list to be grateful for. There's parts of everyday life that if you list them high enough, it will dissolve all your strife. Yeah, it's love morning. Yeah, love morning time. And when I do this right, it always ends with a rhyme. Even though I'm making it up as I go, those in the know believe me when I say it's not quite a show. Hey, good morning. Welcome. Good morning, Gerbot. Good morning, Razor Blade. Good morning, Faith. What are you grateful for? Faith is grateful for medical technology today. And of course, for the song, Love from Florida. Thanks, Faith. I realized as I started singing, well, actually, no, not just now, as I finished singing, that I had coffee today. After a long stretch of no coffee and then being ill, I had a little coffee today. So there may be a correlation between caffeine intake and success making a morning song. But I realized I would like to continue to do the songs. I often tell people when I meet people out at retreats and things, part of like as I start talking to people, because I meet a lot of people who are singers and enjoy singing, because Lisa is leading song circles and leading community singing things. And so people always assume that I'm a big singer, and I don't identify as a singer. I identify as a bird. No, I identify as my pronouns are la 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 la. No, sorry, not sorry. I am. So I often will tell people as we're talking that I struggle with lyrics, which I know you're not supposed to identify with a limitation. But in that same, as we're talking, I said, but I do, I don't dislike singing. In fact, I make up a song every morning. People, it's kind of like that's a humble brag, I guess, isn't it? Like, oh, I can't sing. Oh, I can't remember lyrics. But I sing and I make up a song every day. So, but sometimes if you're a regular here, which you are, I don't do it every day. So I'm going to try to continue to do that. I think it's good practice for me to just try to get a few words out without thinking about them too much. It's a very Zen practice. Just release the words. Good morning, Tall Paul. Good morning and great morning to you. It is Monday. Look at that. That means it's been a week since I started getting sick, and now I'm feeling almost 100%. I think I'm congested. I'm not, but I mean, I'm well enough that I'm willing to have coffee and even like not just be in like sleep as much as possible mode, which I have been lately. Gerbot is grateful for Earth's force field, the protection it affords us, and the pretty light show it creates during solar CME events. CME stands for Crazy Magnetic Energy Events. I don't think that's right, but I think hopefully I'll be corrected soon. Good morning, John. Good morning, Joyous. Good morning, Dwayne. And thank you very much. Hey, Bobcat. Bobcat is grateful for spinach and bacon quiche. Oh, I made 2 in honor of my mom yesterday. Well, happy Mother's honoring to you, Bobcat. Good to see you. I was talking with my parents last month about. Do you remember? This might your age will determine this. There was a book that was very popular, like a comedy book, and it was called "Real Men Don't Eat Quiche." Just to give you an idea of where we were in wokeness, there was like the backlash against wokeness. That was the version of it back then of like, a real man doesn't eat foo-foo foods. And I remember, like, I think I still ate quiche at times, but it not without thinking about it and being like, is it possible that this could cause me to get teased? Because being a real man in the spectrum of my childhood was the opposite of real man was faggot, and faggot and being gay had less to do with any sort of sexuality and more to do with not being a real man. I guess it had to do with sexuality, but it really was just like the weak, feminine, non-manly man, a quiche eater. And I just thought it was so crazy that, like, I mean, maybe it's not that crazy. I mean, I think we live in a time now when there certainly is a right-wing arm that has all sorts of rules about, like, about what a man is supposed to do. Like, you see those posts of, this is what men looked like in the 50s. This is what men look like today. And they'll show like some really exaggerated, like a lumberjack next to, like a modern ballerina or something. It's pretty easy to pick extreme examples from any culture, anytime. Coronal mass ejection. I thought you were joking. Both Bobcat and Gerbot is telling me that coronal mass ejections. That sounds like a description of an orgasm that blows your mind. Was it good for you, baby? I had a coronal mass ejection. Woo! It's gonna take me a second. I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna just lie here for a little bit until I get my blood back into my extremities. Woo! Good morning, Juan. Gerbot says, I am grateful for mom and my memories of her. Thank you. Popcat pointing out that we have come so far in the realm of quiche acceptance. That is, I think that'd be a good way to start a speech. Welcome, fellow humans. We've come a long way in the realm of quiche acceptance. We have miles to go, but we have come so far. Good morning. Natasha says, I'm grateful for the pretty light show in the night skies this weekend and having a beautiful weekend for gardening. So you saw the northern lights, which now are, I guess, are like mid lights, no longer just northern. There was I saw an animation of the explanation of the northern lights, and it was really cool. Anyone else here see the sky light show? I mean, I saw so many photographs online, and then I saw some. I'm like, okay, some of these, and I started to see some that were AI generated, and then it was like, then I just became like numb to what's real and what's not, because sometimes the real photos look pretty like filters as well. And then people told me that they're like, this is one of the few times when the photo looks better than in real life. Like people said, the long exposure on the iPhone really brought out the colors, where in person it wasn't quite as dramatic as the photos that they were posting, I was very pleased that someone was giving that perspective, because I was kind of tripping and feeling a little left out. That's down here. I'm feeling like, even though I was sick, I was like, we should fly north. We should go see this. Natasha pointed out a pink Real Men Eat Quiche t-shirt. Oh, I have not seen that, or I don't remember, but that is a great one. Faith says, to be fair, both sides have rules of how people should be. Totally. Absolutely. Yes. Although, I mean, I think there's extreme, yeah. Anytime you have someone who should be a certain way, I feel like the should on the left is often you should be, or you shouldn't be. You know what? I don't want to get into that. Never mind. You're right. I have grown in my dislike of both sides of the political spectrum. In general, I have more fear of the weaknesses on the right, but I think the weaknesses on the left often instigate the weaknesses on the right. Bobcat's manly quiche had eggs, cheese, bacon, and delicious flaky crust. Oh, it's that flaky crust that makes it manly. It can certainly cause violent coronal mass ejections. Oh, that is some good quiche. Heidi, good morning. Heidi says, I'm grateful that my young adult son was able to overcome his ADHD symptoms in a way that worked for him and graduate from college this weekend. Woo, woo, woo. And grateful his younger sister could come from school to celebrate with us. Feeling blessed. Oh, what a beautiful thing to celebrate. Congratulations, Mama. What an awesome way to celebrate Mother's Day, to see your child. Not only do you keep them alive this long, but to see them triumph in such a way. Well done. That's an awesome gratitude to share, and let us feel your sympathetic joy and feel the ripples of your pride and achievement. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, interesting. Gerbot says, I did not see it with my eyes, but the camera on long exposure did. Oh, fascinating. Well, in the future, we will have retina upgrades, so we can just adjust and go, oh, let me just check out the ultraviolet. Oh, let me check out infrared. Oh, let me check out the northern lights. Stay still, head still. Ah, pretty. Michelle, good morning. Anyone else have any gratitude that they would like to share? I am grateful for Lisa, my partner. She is starting to feel better from the COVID. She was very, very sick. COVID took her down way worse than it took me down. And but yesterday we went back to our condo to look at the work that had been done on it, and we had to move furniture and take things off the wall so that they could scrape the popcorn ceilings off and work on the ceiling in the bedroom that had a leak. And while it was all our house was in that state, Lisa's like, if we're gonna paint, we should do it now. Like half the prep is already done. So, and she just took the lead. We picked some colors. I was in charge of taking the nails out of the wall and spackling the holes, and then she bought the paint and started doing the taping off. She got in touch with the TaskRabbit person who's going to finish off the job, and she started the painting. So I'm just so grateful that, to have a partner that's such a doer. That would have been a process for me to decide which paints and second guess and this, and we just clicked on some options, and I said, I like that one. So by tomorrow, our living room and hallways could be painted, which I've always been a bit, the living room is kind of a yellowy, pale yellowy kind of, I've always disliked it. So hopefully this new color will be better. Hey, good morning, Paul. Paul says, I'm grateful for reminiscing with old friends. What a delight. Faith is grateful for the exchange of ideas. That is becoming as rare as quiche these days. No, I'm just kidding. But yes, it's a tough thing, the exchange of ideas, because it really takes a lot of trust and a lot of respect to go into any exchange of ideas and actually be receptive. I find that if I can be patient, if I can be patient with myself and resist the instinct to attach to a side, which is so hard when I hear something that I've already established is not what I believe. It's so easy to start to go into a defense or a argumentative mindset. But if you can try to separate from that and try to listen to what people's concerns are, not their conclusions. Conclusions are often hard, much more difficult to be sympathetic and go, yes, that solution is the best. But if you can go, what is the worry that this person is concerned about? Even if you don't agree that it is something to worry about, if you can go, okay, I see they're worried about blank. Okay, that's their pain point. That's a big step, but it takes a lot to avoid the digging in, the defensiveness, to noticing because when we have so much access to the argumentative baiting and that our media does, because we have an algorithmic based entertainment system that we call news, and that news knows that it is more effective at getting attention and therefore money if it is inflammatory. And our brains are wired in a way that we find more attraction to inflammatory things than we do to soothing things. So the system is wired, and because we're wired into the system, both biologically and algorithmically, it's very difficult to have an actual exchange of ideas and not fall into the conflict mindset and defensiveness and attack and judgment and us them. I mean, we've got the xenophobia built into our DNA wants us to fall into us them thinking, and it's really hard to avoid that. Good morning, Brady. Oops. Brady is grateful for a morning of a blank state, the freedom to leisurely pursue the hours of the day, any which inspired way. I love how that was kind of rhyming. Really liked your epic timing. Thanks, Brady. Tall Paul says, I am grateful that 2 of my 9 kittens have a new home and 1 other is pending. Excellent. Man, those kittens really demonstrating the they it's funny that cats fuck like rabbits, apparently. Today, Michelle is grateful for today, family and friends. Thanks, Michelle. And did I see a picture of, were you working or did you create the bad mantra? I think you mentioned it here, and then I saw a picture of it, the bad mantra drop off. Is that what it was? Sorry, my brain. Brady says, even more grateful for everyone who has supported my path, getting here, including you, John. Thanks, Brady. As I smiled there, I had this thought. I've been listening to this book on the body, and it has this, it talks about how many muscles are involved in facial expressions, and how it's crazy how many unique facial expressions that we can do, and how much facial communication is a part of humans, and more than any other animal. And one detail that I mentioned I thought was fascinating is that the number of muscles involved with a smile is a huge amount. But when you are truly smiling, like something's making you laugh, it only lasts for a couple seconds, and there are muscles in your eye that are activated that you don't have control over. They're like muscles that you don't have cognitive ability to affect your eye muscles, which is why it is so clear when someone is smiling for a photo, the difference between that and someone who is really like laughing or really smiling genuinely is because when you are posing for a photo, you cannot flex whatever minute muscle is activated with a true smile. Isn't that interesting? I thought that was fascinating. Oh, awesome, Brady. Thank you. Which is all of this is available to be present and take this in. Thank you. Good morning, Juan. Juan says, I'm grateful for a small pray time that we do with our family. Mom leads 10 adult kids. Wow. That's great. Paul saying that painting together is a sign of serious partnership. I mean, totally. I mean, so part of this is that I took all the paintings off the wall, but we left the nails and things when we did the roof. But before we painted, I took all the nails out of the wall, which means that we are going to have to start from scratch, and like what art goes back on the walls. Before I met Lisa, I'd say 60% of the art on my walls was art of me, pictures and art that people have made of me. Since I've dated her and she's been living with me, that has reduced to about 20%. But it's still, there's a lot of Burning Man art and things. And so this whole process, and me kind of saying like, sure, paint. Yes, like I'm not super attached. I'm not going to worry too much about the pictures. I'm going to trust you. It's really a level of commitment and surrender for me to say, I'm not in charge. I know that this change will make her happier, which will make me happier. So perhaps a lot perhaps the Halcyon Museum of Art will go into storage indefinitely until the inevitable library is opened on the coast of Southern California. So that with the, there's like the Nixon Library and there'll be the Halcyon Library. What color was chosen? Really, it was not pink. Really, the colors were chosen were brown tinted whites, basically, like a white palette with the darker color is not very dark. It's a dark, but it's like a slightly brownish white. And then there's a light, which is a cream sort of. So it's basically, it's whiter than it was. But it used to have like a cocoa wall, which I like that, but so I'm a little bummed that there's no kind of colored wall. So, but that's going to, so it was cocoa and kind of yellowish, and I hated the yellowish. So now it's going to be a tinted brown and a tinted cream. I think it's going to look beautiful. It's going to look cleaner. The walls were in bad shape. So it's been many years since it's been painted. So it'll be good. Thank you, Faith. That common ground is no easy task. I know it's not easy for me. Good morning, Hope. Wow, it's already 30 minutes in. Thank you guys for joining and sharing your gratitudes and love ambassadorship and being present with me after my long break of travel and COVID. So I'm trying to recommit myself to certain practices and trying to begin some new commitments of limiting my use on the computer. But in my priorities, this is one of the practices that I'm going to continue to commit to. I really enjoy a gratitude share with you every morning, and as a way to just make sure the day gets going in some way. And what better way to get the day going than with a little focus on gratitude? So I'm grateful for you, grateful for the day ahead, grateful for feeling good in my health and in my body. I could easily make a list of all the things about my health and my body that I am frustrated about, but that's not the point. In fact, the point that I could make that list is exactly why we need this practice. So feeling grateful for you. If you're still with me, wherever you are, let's give ourselves a big hug and appreciate our bodies, this moment, our connections, all the people who shared their beautiful gratitudes of their life experiences that we get to feel the ripples from. As we squeeze, let's amplify it all and send it out to the world. On behalf of Grandpa Caleb and all of you ambassadors of love, thanks for being here for Love Morning, being a part of Hug Nation. Have a beautiful day. Happy Monday.